What the hell? Get away from that display. You people always looking for something to steal. I'm sorry, sir. I just wanted to read. Read? Don't play games with me, kid. Homeless thugs don't read ancient languages. You probably can't even spell your own name. Now get out before I drag you out. Thomas Webb's hand clamped on Elijah's shoulder. Rough, public, like grabbing a stray dog. Dr. Sinclair's assistant walked past. Music, she saw the whole thing, kept walking. Elijah held a crumpled flyer. The museum seeks volunteer translators. All languages welcome. Nobody music looked twice. Inside, 12 PhDs surrounded a document, music worth $200 million. Ancient script impossible to decode. The answer was in the hands of the boy they just music humiliated. Have you ever dismissed someone's potential before they even opened their mouth? The delivery truck arrived at 7:15. Elijah slipped through the loading dock while Webb argued with the driver about paperwork. He followed the voices, urgent, frustrated, coming from the third floor. The conservation lab door stood half open. Elijah stopped in the doorway. 12 people crowded around a glass case. Scholars in expensive clothes. 3 faces on video screens. Everyone is staring at a single piece of parchment under UV light. The document looked ancient, brown, cracked, covered in symbols that seemed to dance in the lamplight. We have 48 hours. The woman speaking had gray hair and coffee stains on her white lab coat. Dr. Margaret Sinclair. Her voice carried the weight of someone who'd stopped sleeping. 48 hours before the Egyptian delegation arrives. This contract determines ownership of artifacts worth $200 million. A younger man, expensive watch gleaming, leaned closer. Dr. Sinclair, the symbols don't match any known Coptic dialect we've catalogued. I can see that, Marcus. Her jaw tightened. On the largest screen, a man with thick glasses spoke. Dr. Raoni Ortiz? Margaret, I've run it through every database. The syntax is completely irregular. It's like they invented their own commercial shorthand. Another voice from a different screen. Could be a forgery? It's not a forgery? Dr. Sinclair's tone ended that discussion. The papyrus dates to 4th century. We've confirmed that. We just can't read what it says. Silence filled the room. The kind of silence that costs careers. Elijah's eyes moved across the document. His lips moved silently. Reading. The symbols made sense. Perfect sense. Like reading his native language. It wasn't pure Coptic. It was Sahidic mixed with Judeo-Aramaic commercial abbreviations, the kind merchants used along the Nile trade routes. He'd read about this exact dialect structure in a book 3 years ago, page 94. He could still see the page. Jennifer, the assistant, glanced toward the door. Saw him. Security. Her voice cut through the room. There's someone. Elijah didn't think. The words just came out. It's not Coptic. It's Sahidic mixed with Judeo-Aramaic commercial shorthand. Every head turned. They saw a skinny black kid in an oversized jacket, 15 years old, standing in a room where he absolutely did not belong. The room went silent. Not the comfortable silence of thinking, the shocked silence of a pattern breaking. Dr. Ortiz leaned toward his camera. That's actually theoretically possible, but it's a 20 second on guess from someone who his eyes traveled up and down Elijah. The worn music sneakers, the too big jacket, the way the kid stood like he was ready to run. Someone untrained. Who? What, Ramon? Dr. Sinclair's voice had an edge. Ortiz backpedaled. Someone without formal credentials. Marcus, the younger curator, crossed his arms. Dr. Sinclair, how did this kid even get in here? I'm standing right here. Elijah's voice was quiet. I can hear you, Doctor. Sinclair turned. Her eyes met Elijah's sharp assessing, not dismissive. How old are you? 15, ma'am. Murmurs rippled through the room. Someone laughed. Not a kind laugh. Patnatst, Marcus repeated. This is what we're doing now, listening to teenagers off the street. Where did you learn about Sahidic Aramaic hybrid scripts? Dr. Sinclair ignored Marcus completely. Elijah shifted his weight. I read about it in a book. Which book? Kaufman's Comparative Analysis of Semitic Trade Languages? The library had it in the reference section. Dr. Sinclair's eyebrows went up. That book was graduate level, dense. Most PhD students struggled with it. You read Kaufman? Yes, ma'am. The whole thing? Yes, ma'am. Another scholar, older woman with silver hair, shook her head. Margaret, this is absurd. We're wasting time. But Dr. Sinclair kept her eyes on Elijah. Can you read any of this document? Marcus stepped forward. Dr. Sinclair, we can't seriously. I asked him a question, Marcus. Her tone could have frozen water. Elijah, can you read it? Elijah's hand trembled as he approached the case. The smell hit him first. Chemical preservatives, old leather, the scent of history. His sneakers squeaked on the marble floor. Too loud. Everyone heard. The other scholar stepped back, creating distance like he carried something contagious. His finger hovered over the glass, careful not to touch. Line 3. His voice was barely above a whisper. It says, between the merchant Theophilus and music, the temple administrator. Dr. Ortiz started typing frantically. Wait, stop. His face went pale. The fragment we already confirmed. The merchant's name. He's right. How is he right? A younger woman pulled up reference texts on her tablet, scrolling fast. Elijah continued, "It's a loan agreement." The music, they're using abbreviated syntax. Traders along the Nile-Red Sea route used these shortcuts to save papyrus. See this symbol? He pointed to a mark everyone had assumed was decorative. That means guaranteed by goods in transit. The silver-haired scholar leaned in, studied the symbol, her face changed. My God, that's not a decorative flourish. Dr. Sinclair removed her glasses, cleaned them slowly, put them back on, looked at the document, looked at Elijah. What's your name? Elijah Carter? Ma'am, where did you study ancient languages? Elijah, I didn't study anywhere. I just read a lot. Where are your parents? The question hit like a fist. Elijah's eyes dropped, his jaw tightened. Dr. Sinclair saw it, the flinch, the pain. She didn't push. Instead, she slid another document across the table. Demonic Egyptian. Different script entirely. What about this one? Elijah looked. His eyes moved across the lines fast. Tax receipt. 26th dynasty. The taxpayer is complaining about the assessment rate. Music says the provincial administrator is corrupt. A scholar laughed, nervous, high-pitched. Another looked like he might be sick. Marcus pulled out his phone, started researching, trying to fact-check a homeless teenager in real time. Dr. Ortiz's voice came through the speaker. Margaret, I don't know what's happening right now, but that demonic translation, I just cross-referenced it. He's accurate. Completely accurate. Someone whispered, he's just a kid. Elijah heard it. Everyone heard it. Dr. Sinclair's voice cut through. He's a kid who just did what 12 of us couldn't do in 6 hours. She looked at Elijah. Really looked like seeing him for the first time. Where do you sleep, Elijah? The question hung in the air. Heavy. Uncomfortable. Elijah didn't answer. Didn't need to. Everyone in the room suddenly understood why his jacket was too big. Why were his shoes worn through? Why he'd been on the loading dock at dawn. Dr. Sinclair asked the question everyone was thinking. Where do you sleep, Elijah? The words pulled him backward. 3 years to when everything still made sense. The public library on 42nd Street. That's where it started. Elijah was 12 when his mother died. Cancer fast. 3 months from diagnosis to funeral. His father was already gone. Sentenced to 8 years for a crime he swore he didn't commit. No appeals. No family to take a kid nobody wanted. Foster care lasted 2 months. The family was nice enough, but their son wasn't. And when things went missing, everyone believed the foster kid did it. Elijah learned fast. When you're black and poor and not really theirs, you're always the easy answer. He ran. The library became home. Open until 9. Warm, safe, full of books that didn't judge. Mrs. Carter noticed him first. Music, the Korean librarian in her 60s who'd worked reference for 30 years. She saw him memorizing textbooks, music entire pages, word for word. You have hyperlexia, don't you? She didn't ask loud enough for others to hear. Photographic memory. Elijah nodded. What do you like to read? Everything, but I really like the old languages, the dead ones. Mrs. Carter's expression softened. Why the dead ones? Because they can't judge you. They just exist. They're beautiful and nobody speaks them anymore, so they can't tell you you're not good enough. 27 books? That's how many linguistics texts lived in the library's collection. Elijah read them all, some twice. The words stayed in his head like photographs. Perfect recall, every symbol, every grammatical rule, every footnote. Ancient languages made sense. They had rules, patterns, logic. Unlike the world that took his mother and father and any chance at normal. Then the library closed. Renovations, budget cuts, temporary, they said 6 months, maybe more. Elijah lost his sanctuary, 6 months of subway platforms, museum steps, shelter beds when available, always moving, always one security guard away from another confrontation. He kept one book, water damaged, spine broken, a discard stamp in red ink. Introduction to Semitic Languages. Some nights when sleep wouldn't come, he'd read it by streetlight, the same pages over and over, remembering when he had a place that wanted him. Now he stood in a room full of scholars who'd gone to the best universities, who had families and homes and health insurance, and he could read what they couldn't. Dr. Sinclair made her decision in 3 seconds. I need you to stay. Help us finish this translation. Security guard Webb still stood in the doorway, arms crossed. Dr. Sinclair, is this wise? He's just a kid who broke in. She didn't look at him. He's more qualified than half the people in this room. I'll take full responsibility. Jennifer, the assistant who avoided Elijah that morning, spoke up. But he's a minor. We need parental consent for anything official. Liability issues. Then I'll be his guardian for today. Dr. Sinclair's tone allowed no argument. Get the paperwork. She turned to Elijah. Are you hungry? He hesitated, nodded. Jennifer, order food. Whatever he wants. She pulled a lab coat from the closet, adult size. It hung loose on Elijah's thin frame. You work here now temporarily? We'll figure out the rest later, she said. A bottle of water and a notepad in front of him gave him space at the table between 2 scholars who looked like they'd swallowed glass. The hum of UV lights filled the silence. Pencils scratched as people took notes. From a 15-year-old homeless kid. The absurdity wasn't lost on anyone. Elijah's voice grew steadier as he read. Line by line, the contract revealed itself. An agreement between a merchant and a temple, transportation of sacred artifacts, penalties for breach, insurance clauses, witness requirements. His finger traced the symbols, never touching the glass, just following the words like reading a bedtime story. This clause here specifies delivery timeline 30 days from the new moon, payment in silver, weighed in the temple, verified by 3 witnesses. Dr. Ortiz leaned into his camera. The historical records support this. Temple silver trade was common in that period. Marcus whispered to another curator. Not quiet enough. This is embarrassing. We're trusting a street kid. Dr. Sinclair heard. Marcus, either contribute or leave. Your choice. Marcus went silent, but his expression said everything. Then Elijah stopped. Line 8. Different script woven into the Sahidic. This section? I need a minute. What is it? Dr. Sinclair asked. Old Nubian. I've only seen it once in one book. Let me. He closed his eyes. The room watched. Some skeptical, some curious, all uncomfortable. Elijah's fingers moved in the air, tracing invisible text. Unmusicant, his lips moved silently, recalling pages he'd read years ago. 90 seconds passed. Felt like hours. His eyes opened. It's a witness clause. Requires 3 signatures. One from a Nubian trade partner. Proves the agreement crossed regional boundaries. The silver-haired scholar pulled up records on her tablet. Scrolled. Her eyes widened. Nubian trade witnesses were standard for high V-value contracts crossing Egyptian Kushite territories. This is correct. Dr. Ortiz's voice crackled through the speaker. How old were you when you read about Old Nubian? Trinasti. Someone made a sound, half laugh, half disbelief. You memorized a book about Old Nubian at 13. Another scholar's voice carried pure skepticism. I don't try to memorize. It just music stays. Dr. Sinclair's phone buzzed. She glanced at the screen, her expression tightened. The museum director wants an update. She looked at Elijah, the kid who'd been thrown out 2 hours ago, who was now translating a document worth millions. I need to tell him something. Are you certain about this translation? Elijah met her eyes. Yes, ma'am. I'm certain. She nodded, stood, smoothed her lab coat. Then that's what I'll tell him. She walked toward the door, stopped, turned back. Don't let anyone make you feel small while I'm gone. The door closed behind her. Elijah sat at the table, surrounded by scholars with decades of experience and Ivy League degrees, and they were waiting for him to tell them what came next. The boardroom was all glass and leather, city views and expensive art. Richard Halloway, the museum director, sat at the head of the table. 62 white, $3,000 suit a man used to control. Your source is a homeless teenager. His voice carried disbelief and something sharper. Disgust. Margaret, a 15-year-old black kid off the street. Dr. Sinclair kept her spine straight. My source is someone who can read languages your entire staff cannot. The optics, Margaret. He leaned back, fingers steepled. A child, no credentials, living on the streets. What if he's running some kind of con? What if you're being played? Played into what? Accurate translations verified by 3 PhD linguists. Board members watched through video screens, silent, judging. Patricia Vance, the museum's legal consultant, shook her head. Expensive highlights caught the light. Dr. Sinclair, we cannot present this to the Egyptian delegation. The translator is a minor. Where are his parents? Who's legally responsible if something goes wrong? 3 separate experts have confirmed every line he's translated. Confirmed based on his initial reading. Patricia's tone sharpened. What if he's wrong? What if this is all an elaborate? An elaborate what? Dr. Sinclair's voice went cold. A con by a child who can barely afford to eat. We have our reputation to consider. And he has his life to consider, his future, his one chance. Halloway stood, walked to, musicked the window, looked out over the city like a king surveying his kingdom. You're willing to stake your career on a 15-year-old homeless boy? Yes. Your tenure? Your reputation? 20 years of work? Yes. For a kid you met this morning. For accuracy, for truth. For not letting prejudice decide who gets to be brilliant. Silence stretched. Uncomfortable. Heavy. Another board member spoke. Older man, Boston accent. Margaret. Even if the boy is right, he's a child. A troubled child. The delegation will see this as unprofessional, desperate. The delegation will see results from a black teenager living on museum steps. The words hung there. Everyone heard what he didn't say. The assumption underneath. Dr. Sinclair's jaw tightened. Say what you mean, Gerald. I mean, optics matter, perception matters. We can't. You mean you can't trust a black child to be what he's already proven he is? Brilliant. Gerald's face flushed. That's exactly what you meant. Calloway turned from the window. This discussion is over. We'll revisit tomorrow. Margaret, I strongly suggest you find a more traditional solution. Outside the boardroom, Elijah sat on a bench close enough to hear voices. Not words, music, just tone, anger, dismissal, arguments about him. Not with him. Jennifer sat nearby scrolling her phone. She glanced at him, looked away. They don't mean it personally, she said, not looking up. Yes, they do. Elijah's voice was flat, empty. I'm used to it. Used to what? Being invisible until I'm useful, then being too risky to trust, he stood. It's always the same every time. He walked toward the elevator. Jennifer watched him go. Guilt flickered across her face. This morning's memory. Pulling her bag away, walking past the elevator, dinged. Doctor! Music. Sinclair burst through the boardroom door, saw Elijah waiting for the doors to open. Don't go. He didn't turn around. Elijah, music please. I'm making it worse for you. Always make it worse. She reached the elevator, stood beside him, not blocking, just present. Music, you're not making anything worse. Their fear is... The elevator doors opened. Empty car waiting. Neither moved. Dr. Sinclair pulled out her card, pressed it into his hand. Tomorrow, 8:00 a.m. We present to the Egyptian delegation. What if I mess up? I'm just a kid. She bent down, eye level the way a mother would. You're not just anything, Elijah. You're extraordinary. His eyes filled. He blinked hard. I need you tomorrow, but only if you choose to come back. The elevator doors closed. Empty. Elijah looked at the card in his hand. Dr. Margaret Sinclair, Director, Ancient Languages Division. Someone finally saw him. Really saw him. The question was whether he was brave enough to show up again. 7:55 a.m. Elijah stood outside the museum. Same worn jacket, hair combed with water in a subway bathroom. Dr. Sinclair waited inside, shopping bags in her hands, youth sizes still tagged. You're a consultant now. Dressed the part. The bathroom mirror showed someone different. Button-down shirt, pants that fit, first new clothes in 18 months. He touched the collar, tried not to cry. 8:15 black cars arrived. The Egyptian delegation, serious men in expensive suits, one woman in a navy hijab, all carrying authority like weapons. Dr. Yusuf Elsid led them. 55. Sharp eyes that missed nothing. Dr. Sinclair, I trust you have answers. Significant progress. The conference room was filled. Egyptian legal team, cultural attaché, their translator, museum staff. The air is thick with tension and money. Dr. Sinclair presented preliminary findings. The contract structure, terms, parties. Dr. Elsid listened, nodded, revealed nothing. Impressive. He opened his briefcase. We've brought a complimentary fragment. We need simultaneous verification. A photograph slid across the table. Different papyrus. Same impossible script. Our translator reads in Arabic, yours in English. If they align, we proceed. He looked at the video screen. Dr. Ortiz. Actually, Dr. Sinclair stood. Our lead translator is here. She gestured to Elijah. The room froze. Dr. Elsa's face changed. This is a boy. This is Elijah Carter, 15. The reason we're here, the Egyptian attaché whispered in Arabic. Fast, sharp. Why waste time with a child? Elijah understood every word, said nothing. Dr. Elsa studied him. You translated the primary document? Yes, sir. At 15? Yes, sir. Convenient. No warmth in the word. The Egyptian translator, Dr. Amina Hassan, set up her materials. 43. 2 decades of experience. She glanced at Elijah like he was playing dress-up. Shall we begin? Both documents' music projected on screens. Dr. Hassan began, Arabic flowing smooth, professional, unshakable. Elijah followed in English, younger voice but accurate. In the name of the Merchant Guild, witnessed by the Temple Council. Payment rendered in silver, weighed and verified. Perfect synchronization. Same dates, same music names, same terms. Clause 7. Both stopped. Dr. Hassan switched to English. This section references Elijah finished a third-party Nubian witness. We identified him yesterday. She stared. You know Nubian witness protocols? Yes, ma'am. Standard cross-regional trade structure. Your Sahidic pronunciation. Where did you study? Books. Library books. Is it wrong? She removed her glasses, cleaned them, put them back. No, it's museum quality. Long pause from library books. Yes, ma'am. Dr. Elsa watched this exchange, silent, assessing. His attaché spoke English this time, meant to be heard. We're trusting our delegation to a child. Dr. Hassan turned sharp. We're trusting accuracy which he's provided. She looked at Elijah. Really looked without doubt. Your reading is correct. Completely correct. The validation hit like oxygen. Elijah's hands shook under the table. Voice stayed steady. Thank you, ma'am. Dr. Elsid stood. 30-minute recess. Everyone filed out. Dr. Hassan approached Elijah. How many languages have you taught yourself? 7 ancient. A few modern at 15? Yes, ma'am. She handed him her card. Cairo University, Department of Linguistics. When you're older, contact me for formal study. She paused. Colleague to colleague. That music word colleague. Nobody had ever called him that. Dr. Elsid returned from recess, his team behind him, faces unreadable. We need clarification on the translator's credentials. Silence, heavy, waiting. Dr. Sinclair stood. Elijah is 15 years old. He has no formal degree, no school record for the past 18 months. Museum Director Holloway went pale. Margaret, she continued louder. What he has is photographic memory and a gift 3 universities missed. Her voice filled the room. He's been homeless for 6 months, taught himself 7 ancient languages in a public library, and he's the only reason we're having this conversation. Dr. Elsai turned to Elijah. You taught yourself no teachers? Yes, sir. At 15, you read Sadic, Aramaic, Demonic, Nubian and Greek, music Latin, Akkadian, Middle Egyptian. Sir, the Egyptian delegation exchanged glances, whispers in Arabic. Layla Hassan, the cultural attachés, spoke up. Dr. Elsid, Cairo has programs for child prodigies. Music, the university offers full scholarships. Dr. Sinclair stepped forward protective. With respect, Miss Hassan, Elijah is American. We need programs here. He shouldn't have to leave his country or be homeless to be valued. She looked at Elijah, looked at something fierce in her eyes like a mother defending her child. Elijah's eyes filled. Nobody had fought for him like this since his mother died. Dr. Elsai walked slowly around the table. Music stopped in front of Elijah. Stand up, young man. Elijah stood, tried not to shake. If we proceed with this translation as our legal foundation, I have one condition. The room held its breath. Your name will be listed as primary translator on all official documents, academic record, legal filings, international archives. Elijah's voice broke. Sir, at 15 you've accomplished what scholars twice your age cannot. That deserves recognition.